Welcome class to your Chapter 5 lecture video, Working with Links and Navigation. In Chapter 5 we're going to cover the objectives of create external and internal links. We're going to use IDs to navigate to specific page locations, create and modify and copy a menu bar, create an image map, manage website links, and lastly we'll incorporate Web 2.0 technology. So it's talked about on page 5-2 the difference between an internal link and an external link, and also the word path as well. So internal links are links to web pages within the same website. So when we link from our home page to the About Us page to the Services page, those are all considered internal links. If we link off to something like garden.org, that would be considered an external link. And so when we're developing those, we develop a path, whether it be an absolute path or a relative path. Now both of those terms are talked about on pages 5-4 and 5. So absolute I always define as from point A all the way to point Z. Okay, so from the protocol, maybe HTTP, or maybe it's FTP, or maybe it's C: all the way. And relative means where is the file with regards to where you're at. So if you're on the home page, where is the file path from the home page? And that's what's defined as relative. So some examples are on page 5-5 in figure 2. So there's an example of an absolute path, relative path like linking to spa or to heron.gif. And then we have site root relative, which just has a / at the very beginning that takes us to site root relative, and then document relative is almost the same as a relative path. So let's begin our exercises on page 6, create an external link. So we're going to be working with another file, and so we want to grab our data file. So this was 5_1. And we're going to go ahead and take and save this over our activities. Now remember, the process is always to overwrite yes, okay on the JavaScript error if you receive one, and it's always no on update links. Okay, so then you should get this format. And then the next directions talks about fixing the broken image link or images links. Okay, so we got this one. So it's the same process. We must navigate to our data files and go ahead and open up that file. So I'll go ahead and open up my properties inspector. And I can see that that file name is referenced as Family Sunset. So I'll go ahead and navigate to the data files. So I'll look for Family Sunset, and if you kind of forget what it is, just look down here and you'll find the file name, or partially part of it. Now if it doesn't respond right away, don't worry about it. Sometimes I have to actually go to live view to actually see it. And you're going to see this quite a bit through this chapter, is that design view and live view don't always, or design view especially, doesn't always represent exactly what we would see in a browser or even in live view. So the next one, I think I'm wondering, I just want to follow the directions. So number 4 says select the image. So we want to actually select this image and apply the class of image float to it, which adds a border to it, adds some margins around it, and the float property is set to left for tablet and desktop, but in a mobile device it's set to none. So we'll go ahead and fix the broken link on the second image, which is 2 dolphins small. And again, sometimes it just takes a little going to live view if you're an impatient person, or if you're patient, just wait and it'll come into design view. So this one we're actually going to create an additional CSS global rule using our CSS designers panel. So I'll go ahead and drag that out, get my 2 columns, SU styles global. Come down to the bottom, I've got my image float here. I'm going to go ahead and create a new one called image float right. Okay, so in image float right, we're going to apply basically the same properties we did for image float. So I've got all margins 10 pixels. And float of none. And remember, this is the global one, so this is our default. Borders, we've got thin, solid, and then we have our color. Okay, and so that is step number 6. Now it says repeat step 6 to create a selector in the SU styles file for tablet. So my next step is to go from in the media query, go to the tablet media query, and create a new one called image float right. And you may have guessed it already that the only property that we're going to apply for this one is that we're going to change the float property, which is defaulted as none for global, and we're going to take it and make it right. So if I look at that one, I have just that float property. If I look at the global image float right, I can see that I have my margins, I have my borders, I have the float property of none. Okay, remember that trickle-down effect, global, anything that is overridden further down the file is going to be the style that is set. So we want to apply this one to our two dolphins. So image float right. Okay. So nice little layout, one to the left and one to the right. So that takes us all the way through step 8. Number 9 on page 7 says scroll down and select the text Blue Angels in the first line of the third to the last paragraph. Okay, so I'm going to find that, and if I can't find it, I can always use Control F to find it. So here I found Blue Angels, and in my link box, now typically if you're linking to an external site, go to that external site, find it, and then just copy the URL. But I'll just type it in today. And I'm actually going to put an S on it because without the S it doesn't find it, and now we're going to find that we have a security issue when we test this one as well. So I'll give you two options. You can either leave it without the HTTPS and it'll be a broken link, or you can put the S on and then the person would have to ignore the security. In a real life environment, we'd figure out a different path to go about this. Okay, go ahead and hit clack, and then we're going to do USS Alabama. Where is that it? In the next paragraph. So this one right here. And this link, no issues with it at all. Now make sure that you have that protocol when you link to an external website. And again, it's just easier if you have it open up in a web browser. You're already sitting at that site to copy the link. But if you type it in, make sure you always put the protocol first. If you're missing the protocol, it's going to look for a file within your website that is named maybe www.usalabama.com. Okay, so the next step is we would want to make sure that we go ahead and test this file. So I'm going to go ahead and save. And I'm going to open it up in Firefox. Yep, save all. And I'm going to click on Blue Angels, and you're going to see the connection is not secure. I'm going to go ahead and click on Advanced, or maybe, I can't remember exactly how it wasn't go back. Wasn't learn more. There was one way that I actually was able to get through it, and I'm not sure exactly at this moment exactly how to get through it. So again, just kind of a link that's not working very well for us. USS Alabama should link you exactly to where you need to be. And maybe I was in Chrome. I'm not quite sure where I was testing that Blue Angels link at. So moving on to page 8, select the text Fishing Excursions. So right here, fishing excursions, and we want to link it to fishing. So let me go ahead and minimize my properties, and I can use Properties Inspector, to simply link it this way by point to file. Fishing, I can use browse to go about it, and I can actually type it in as well. And then the next one is dolphin cruises. So these are what we would call relative files, okay, or a relative link. So this one goes to cruises, this one goes to fishing. No absolute link from the protocol and on. Okay, viewing the links in the assets panel on page 9. So I'll go ahead and open up my assets panel. I click on the URLs link, the third one, the category, and I can see that I have there, and you can see the actual type of them as well. If I look at my images, I should be able to see those images. I'm not quite seeing these images quite yet. Sometimes this doesn't respond as well as it should, but you can verify them by looking at your assets folder. There's 2 dolphins, and the other one was Family Sunset. Okay, using IDs, lesson 2, to navigate to specific page locations. So you want to think about maybe the letters of the alphabet at the top of your file, and you would click on the letter H. Okay, so like if BSC had a faculty page, and you click on the letter H, and it would automatically jump to all those faculty that have the last name of H. Okay, that's an example of jumping from one part of a web page to the other part of a web page. Now notice I said web page, I didn't say website, so it's within that same page itself, and that's what IDs are meant to do. And then we have a link that will actually link to that particular ID. So the actual ID is the target of the location, and when I click on the link, that's the actual link to that target. So let's go ahead and create ours. We're going to set up our IDs first, and we're going to develop a new SPA page. And so don't panic when they say to overwrite your current SPA page, because that's the absolute intention. Again, same process. Okay, and so this is the results that you should receive. So we're going to set up 4 IDs in this page. We're going to have an ID here at the top of the page, which we're going to name banner, and then each one of these sections here is going to be an ID. Okay, so the idea is that when we're at the bottom of the page, we're going to have a link that's going to link back up to the banner. So like return to the top. Massages is going to jump to massages, facials to facials, and body treatments to body treatments. So that is the process of it. So this one, I click up in the banner, click on my properties inspector, and there you see ID. Now I want you to watch the bottom of the screen as well, so that you can see that that's actually applied once I hit enter. So I type in banner, and I'm going to hit enter, and you should actually see it apply on line 37, as well as down in the tag inspector as well. Okay, so we've got banner ID. Okay, and if I come here, I'm not actually seeing where I wanted to see it down here. Maybe this version is different, but definitely that you see ID equal banner here. Okay, so if I click back up here, I can actually see it there. So sometimes, depending on the version of Creative Cloud, this doesn't always actually take. And so that's why I want you to watch in multiple places. So let's go ahead and apply them to massages. Okay, and I see ID of massages was applied. Now you can have either your cursor in the actual word, or you can select the entire thing. And so now I can see ID equal facials. Scroll down. In this case, I'm going to make sure both words get selected, and this one is body underscore treatments. Now you're just giving them a label. When you have more than one word, usually just separate them with an underscore. Okay, so that's pages 12 and 13. Now we're going to create internal links. So to drop to or jump to those particular IDs that we just established. So the link is going to be massages, and it's going to jump to massages. So in order to apply that, you highlight the text that you want to become the hyperlink, and you come to link in your properties inspector, and you type in a # or a hashtag along with the ID name. Okay, it is case sensitive. And then facials would be # or hashtag facials. Body treatments, same thing. Okay, and notice how the code was created for them. Anchor tag, which creates our hyperlink. And where do we want to link to? We're not linking to a file, we're not linking to an external website, we're linking to a location that's within the same page. The hashtag means within the same page. Okay, so we're looking for an ID that has massages, facials, and body _ treatments. Well, we need to create one more. We're going to create return to the top. So after certainly appreciated here, we're going to enter down and we're going to type in the text return to top of page. We select that, then we're going to link this one to banner. Okay, and then we'll take them into a browser and we'll test them out. So when I click on massages, it should take massages to the top of the page. I can scroll back up or just hit the back button. Facials to facials. Body treatments to body treatments. Now depending on where your scroll bar is at, depends on if some of these actually get pushed to the page. Got a fairly small resolution here, so this actually works really nice. But again, if you have a larger resolution, and you're not going to see that body treatments is actually pushed to the top of the page. Now if I click on return to the top of the page, it takes me right back up. So when you're creating yours, if they don't function, you need to go make sure that the ID has been placed, okay, first and foremost, and you need to make sure that you've matched up your case sensitivity and of course your spelling. Lesson 3, create, modify, and copy a menu bar. Okay, so we're going to create a menu bar, and that menu bar, let's see if I can find a good picture of it, is on page 5-25 in figure 28. And so that is what we're going to progress to and see that established. And you'll be recreating that for Blooms and TripSmart as well for your coffee shop. So navigation menus are very important. You want to keep them simple. Don't rename them differently. Don't make about us mean something else, okay? Or the words about us, make them different words but take you to the about us page. You know, name them what they are. People are familiar with common naming conventions. On page 16 and 17 we have items. Okay, using list items. So we're going to actually use a unordered list to actually create our menu. And then we're going to use some CSS styling to make it not a vertical list, but make it a horizontal list, and also take the bullets away from it as well. State is also defined on page 16. It's the condition of the item relative to the pointer. So we're going to work with some hovering. So when we hover over the menu bar, it will actually change background color and actually change font color as well. And then from there we're going to copy and copy that menu bar into all of our pages. Okay, so to insert a menu bar on our pages, we're going to do it just like we did in previous chapter. We're going to use a navigational element. Okay, so working with SPA, this is where we're going to create our navigation to start with. We want to come to the very top of the page and we want to put our cursor before the seesaw surfaces. Now you can either go to code view or split view is nice for these exercises. You just want to make sure that your cursor is not inside of the header 1 but outside of it. Okay, there's a big difference. We want to make sure that our menu bar is not formatted as a header 1, so therefore we need our cursor outside of the H1 tag. Okay, so that's direction number 1 on page 18. Number 2 tells us to go to, they say structure category. We know that we stay in HTML, and we're going to go to navigation. And we're going to type in, and this is in your instructions in your assignments page, you want to make sure you prefix everything with fluid. So number 3 says menu bar, but you're going to do fluid space menu underscore bar. And then click on OK. Now for some reason, this dialog box represents what you see in figure 14. Shut down your Dreamweaver and open it again, and you should come back to a dialog box that looks like this. Okay, go ahead and click OK. The next thing is on page 19, where we're going to add the items to the menu bar, but we need to first format it as an unordered list. So it says click the default menu bar text, select the text, and then select the unordered list button. So using my properties inspector, I'm going to click on unordered list. Okay, and so in my code you can see UL, here's my first list item, and so on. So I'm going to highlight my first list item information here. Okay, and then I'm going to return, I'm just actually going to type home first here. But I want to make sure that I'm up here in design view when I continue my typing, I believe. Or maybe I've messed it up so bad that I can't actually demo it correctly. If you are in split view, what you want to make sure that is that when you go to type in the next item, which is about us, that you're not inside of LI here. So I'll put my cursor here. How can I go about this? If I do this, yep, it does it right. Okay, so even if it is within the opening LI, you just want to make sure that you get more than one list item here. So we're going to type in about us, and these should all go vertical. And then sand, crab, cafe, sea spa, and activities. Okay, make sure you spell activities right. Okay, now we're going to go ahead and link them on the following pages. So index, of course, we can use our files panel to go about doing this. We're going to link home to home. I'm actually going to use my properties inspector. Link home to index. Highlight about us and link it to about us. Sand Crab Cafe. So we've got our 5 menu items. Yes, they're vertical in nature at this point, and they have underlining to them, which doesn't look very professional by any means, but this is figure 18, and this is where you should be after page 21. Or after page 20, excuse me. Page 21, we use CSS to format that menu bar. So we're going to come back to our CSS Designers panel. And with our cursor within this list, it works really nice. We're going to click on SU Styles and then Global and click on the plus. So if we have our cursor within any part of our page, it's going to pick up the actual selectors that we need. So in this case, we do need UL space LI space A, and that actually refers to this, UL, LI, and it refers to these hyperlinks that are actually in our menu. So we'll go ahead and hit Enter, and then we're going to uncheck Show Set. We're going to give it a width. It's going to be in percentage of 100. Oh, not 1,000. 1,000 is not good. Okay, 100%. Okay, probably didn't notice any change at all. What with 100% means is that this menu bar is going to take up 100% of its parent element, and in this case that parent element actually happens to be nav. Okay, the next one you're going to notice, so when we click on text and we're going to take text decoration down to none, I want you to watch that the underlining is going to remove over here. Okay, so that looks a lot more professional thus far with that underlining removed. So we can see the two-step properties, 100% and the underlining removed. Okay, moving on to page 22, we're going to create a new global tag selector named LI. Okay, so this one you can't really kind of rely on that because it'll probably select the same selector it did before. So I'm going to click on plus. Oh, well, wrong plus one. Plus here in selectors, and I'm just going to do LI. Okay, and then here I want to change, it says create a new global selector named LI and then set the list item display property to inline. So we'll come to display and we'll make it inline. Okay, and what that does is it takes LI, which were stacked down the page, which is considered block level, okay, block styling, and it makes it inline, which allows it to fill up horizontally. Okay, so you'll notice now the menu is horizontal. Okay. The next one, step 5. Step 5 has a modification to it, so make sure you refer to the assignments page for if you need any clarity on it. So number 5, we're actually going to create a class called menu bar. Okay, so we'll click on plus and we'll go period menu underscore bar. Okay, so we're creating it and we're giving it a text line of center. Okay, so now notice that the menu bar is centered within its container. Okay, page 23, we're going to add a background color to it, and we're going to add some padding so that it's not really so stuck to each other as far as the text is concerned. So with menu bar still open, we're going to do a background color first, and they want us to use the eyedropper tool to sample, so make sure that you can see your banner. And we'll open up and we'll grab the eyedropper tool, and this time we're going to sample a blue. Okay, and if you sample it one time, you don't like the color, sample it again, and then when you're done, hit enter. So notice now that I have a blue background color. Okay, number 3, set the global selector ULLIA and add the following properties. So back to ULLIA, and we're going to do some padding. So we want to go to layout and padding on just the left and right. So left 1% and right 1%. Okay, so make sure that you don't click this middle thing, middle link icon, not thing, and do all 4. It's just the left and the right padding. So I just want you to notice that there's a little bit more spacing. Okay, and we'll fix the fact that this isn't all the way to the edge here in a little bit. Okay, page 24, select the global intro paragraph selector. So I'll scroll up in my selector list, find intro paragraph, and I scroll up to find 97%. I'm going to change this to 100%. And now if I look at my menu bar, yes, it's fitting and kind of lining up with the banner. You really can't see it so much perfectly in design view, but you would be able to see it in a browser or in live view. Number 6, select SU styles on the related files toolbar, and then we're going to go through the code. Okay, so I'm going to switch here to full code view so that I can find ULLIA, and I'm going to copy this to both sections. So in tablet, I'm going to look for the space between the close of the media query for tablet. I'm going to paste it in there. And then I'm going to do the same process at the bottom with the desktop. So this one doesn't have any spacing, but I'm going to enter down. Just make sure that's before that closing media query tag. This absolutely has to stay, otherwise the media query will not function correctly. Now the only thing that you need to update is for the desktop, which has a larger screen resolution, we can have a larger spacing in between our menu items. So we're going to change that to 4%. So let's come back into design view and let's actually save this and open it up in a web browser, and you can see the spacing. Now if I take my window and bring it in a little closer, you can see almost where it jumps. So coming in, there, that's tablet. Okay, that's 1%, and if I keep going, you're going to see how it adjusts, and it's still staying at 1%. It's still staying at 1% even though I'm going into more of a global layout, which happens to be our smartphones. Okay. Now we're going to add a hover color. Okay, so we're going to come to page 25, number 10, add one more global selector in SU styles. So global, and then selector. I always like to scroll down to the bottom of the list. So when I add it, it becomes the next one. UL LI A:hover. Okay, with the following property, set the text color value to brown starfish color using the color picker, and then set the background to the sand color. Now, you can use the color pickers for these. If you want a darker color brown, which I actually kind of prefer, you can go there. So I'll click on text color first. I'm going to use my eyedropper. And I'm actually going to not sample the starfish, but I'm going to sample, I don't know, I think I'm going to sample one of these maroons maybe. You can always play around with them. I actually like that color better. Whatever you want to work with. Okay, and then we're going to come to a background color. And this one I don't mind sampling. And I click my starfish color. Okay, so now if I come back to my web browser, oh, wonder why that did that. Because I certainly don't have two of them on the page. Let's go File, Save All, and come back here. There we go. That was quirky. So when I hover over now, I've got that darker brown for my font color, but I also have that background color that I chose. Okay. Copy and paste a menu bar on page 25. So you got your menu bar all set up, and it's just the structure of it that you need to really copy. So I'm going to come to source code. I'm going to full code view here. And just do some minimizing of my windows here. Find my navigation, so nav to closing nav. When they say stated in the directions, I just kind of thought of this as I was looking at it. When they say put a P tag around it, you can do that, or you can just leave it as it is here. So nav class fluid menu all the way to closing nav. I'm going to copy it, and the first one that they want us to copy it to is activities. So activities currently has an existing nav on it that we built in a previous chapter. So you want to highlight that existing nav. You can delete it, or you can just simply paste over top of it. Okay, so all of yours eventually should have all of the nav that's in an unordered list format. Okay, so the next one is there's an index and an about us. I'll just go to about us. About us does not have an existing navigation, so it's going to be before the H1. I'm going to enter down and then paste it in. And then index should have an existing navigation. So I would do the same thing here. Nav to closing nav. And I'm actually going to delete this one because I want this P tag to wrap around welcome, and I want my navigation before that. So File, Save All, come back to my browser, and I should be able to click on About Us, and I should be able to click on Spa, and Activities, and Home. Sand Crab Cafe hasn't been built yet, so don't bother clicking on that. Create an image map is lesson 4. So what an image map is, you can think of the United States, which is figure 29, and if I click on ND, it takes me to the North Dakota state website. And with all the other pages, or it might be a different website that it would link to. Okay, so it's just a hotspot and clickable area on an image that will take you somewhere else. So what we're going to do is we're going to build a hotspot up here in the upper left corner of our banner that will take us back to the home page, and that's a very common thing on websites. Okay, so we'll start on page 28. And we're going to work with the About Us page. So you want to click up in the upper left corner of the banner, and we're going to insert a transparent image on top of that. So to the Insert panel, and then we're going to scroll to find Image. I've got to navigate again to the data files. Find Transparent. Click OK, And it is transparent. You can't see anything about it. You can see the bounding box of it, the border of it, but that's it. So let's give it some properties. Well, maybe we don't have to. Some alternate text, maybe? No. We're actually going to create a hotspot on it right away. So we'll go to Properties. And when you have an image selected, you will always see your hotspot properties down here. Your rectangle, you got oval, and then you've got your polygon type of hotspots. So I'm going to click on rectangle. Then I get a crosshairs, and I want to come up as close as I can up into that left corner and drag over top of it. So this is going to be my clickable area on my image. Okay. Then I need to define what I need to do with that hotspot. So when I click on it, I want it to link to index.html. I want the target to be top. I'm not getting a list here. There we go. Top. Top and I said blank and new will open up in a new window. Top, we just want to replace our current page that's in our web page currently. And then alt, we're going to put in alternate text is link to home page, and then we're going to give the map a name of home. So let's go ahead and give this a test. Coming back to our browser, and I click on About Us, and then notice now that I can hover over this corner and I click on it, it takes me, I don't know if this works really well with the live preview. Let's do this where I actually open up the web page directly, just like I did in chapter 4. So I need to be in Stripe and Umbrella. I don't know why it always does that. Kind of irritating. It's probably a user error. And About Us. Okay, so I click, takes me to the home page. Now what I want you to do, in addition to the examples, is do it on all of the pages. Of course, you don't need to do it on the home page because we're already on the home page. But to do that, you're just going to go into Code View. You're going to find in the header section, you're going to find Map to Map, and you're going to copy it. And so you're going to come in, and actually though you'd actually have to copy this image and map to map. So everything between the opening header tag and the closing header tag, copy that. And you probably could just do this, honestly. Header class equal fluid header div. Copy that and you just paste it over the other pages. So let's go to activities. So I find header class fluid header div, and I just paste over top of that. And then I'm trying to remember spa. So same thing here, and paste over. And I'm not going to do it on the home page because yes, it's the home page. Okay, so save all. I come back to my browser, and now if I click on spa, I hover over top, I can take me back to the home page. If I go to activities, it's the same process. About Us, same process. Okay, so we'll go there and test it, make sure it works. Okay, so the targets are explained on page 528 and what they actually do. Underscore blank, separate browser window, new, destination page in a new tab. Okay, so essentially kind of the same process between underscore blank and new. Parent displays the destination page in the parent frame set, replaces the frame set, and we really don't deal with frame sets anymore. Underscore self displays the destination page in the same frame window or window, and that's usually the default behavior. And then top displays the destination page in the whole browser window. So I think self and top are kind of the default as well too. So the only ones that I would ever use is new and underscore blank. Lesson 5, manage website links. So the first direction that's on page 31, I've kind of mentioned in the announcements already. If you're having problems with your files not refreshing on the server, this is the route that I would want you to go. So in Dreamweaver, it's just the site menu, and you would go to Advanced and recreate site cache. What is a cache? It's a temporary location, and sometimes Dreamweaver will upload the temporary location instead of the files that you have recently made changes to. So if you do this, it should recreate the site cache, and you should be able to upload your fresh updated files. So I'm going to go ahead and do that step. And then number 2, little modification to the directions. Number 2 should be Site on the menu bar. And now an additional one, we have to go to Site Options before we get to check links site-wide. So this is a really good maintenance type of performance. You can see any broken links that you might have. Okay, and so I might want to investigate this one. I'm not sure why this is showing up, but you can fix them here as well. And then external links, so all your external links. So you can fix them here as well too, and then any orphan files. And these are kind of what you should see. I'm surprised that this broken link is here. Can I click on this? Open file. Oh, SPA is open. Okay, so let me go ahead and click on SPA. I just want to make sure that this works. It's not working. Return to the top of the page. So, did my transparent image, oh, when I did that pasting over top, I lost my ID equal banner. Good catch. So now let's come back here, refresh, SPA, return to the top of the page, and it works. Yeah, sometimes copying and pasting, you know what, all the time copying and pasting gets me. Update a page, so we're going to do fishing and we're going to do cruises on pages 32 and 33. So I'm going to go ahead and close all of these files and then open up a data file. So this is kind of basically how we started this video off, getting some data files. So this one is 5_3, and I'm actually going to open up the next one, which is 5_4, so that I don't have to navigate back to this folder. So 5_3 is going to be saved as fishing. Okay, so I'll navigate to my Striped Umbrella site, save it over fishing. Yes. Oh, it just makes me jump. And then click no on update links. So I can close 5_3 out. 5_4 is going to be cruises. Okay, so the only thing that I need to do to these two files is change some broken links to the images. So properties, I need to get fisherman. Maybe some of you are wondering, because I wonder a lot. I always question why. So if you want to gather your images like fishermen and boats, and you want to copy them using File Explorer to your assets folder, that's absolutely fine. You don't have to go through this route of navigating to the data files. However you want to go about doing it, that's absolutely fine, as long as it turns out the way it's supposed to turn out. So this one is fisherman, and then I'll come to cruises. Okay, and again, if we practice patience, we can usually see the image come through. Fishing is there. Yeah, are we going to get cruises in here? Yeah, we'll go to live view, come back to design view. Okay. Number 8 on page 33. So what number 8 on page 33 is going to do for us is it's going to add a border around the container that our content is in, and it's also going to add some white here as well. Okay, so global grid container, this is what this is right here, is global grid container. If I click on that little line, I get down here in the tag inspector, grid container. Okay, so let's use our CSS designer, global, SU styles first, global, and then grid container, and we want to add a border. So border, width of thin, style of solid, and the color is 27. Okay. Oh, why is it changing? Why did it do that? I don't know. I just kind of had a freak out moment when I saw that brown there. But I actually can see the border color here. Okay, so it's kind of almost a black. And then we're going to do a background color. So we'll come to the background category, and I want you to watch this space right here between this content here that's in white, but this little where the water is actually coming through on the background. Okay, so we're going to put a background color in here of white. Okay, and it looks really nice because there's a little bit of spacing before that actual border that happens, and now that's filled in with the white color, which happens to be the color of our container here as well. Okay, lesson 6 talks about incorporating Web 2.0 technology. 2.0 technology, in my opinion, is just all of the bells and whistles that are out there. Your social networking, your Facebook, your tweets, your Skype, your Google video chat, your RSS feeds, things like that. So technology that you can incorporate into a website. Okay, so when you're working on Coffee Shop, if you want to bring a link into the Facebook link and link it to a fake Facebook page, I'm absolutely fine with that. And you can see an example of that in figure 38 on page 35. So with that, we're done with striped umbrella. And so now I want to talk to you a little bit about the Bloom's directions, because I want to make sure that everybody has absolute success when it comes to this assignment. Okay, so all the modifications to the directions for chapter 5 are there. We got blooms and bulbs. So I would suggest either having this open as you're working on it, or give it a print, or copy and paste it into a Word document or a text document as you're working on that, so that you don't forget that, hey, you need to have fluid before menu bar, or when you get to when it talks about the menu bar class, that you actually have to create it. Okay, number 14 is what you want to make sure that you put menu bar in front of LI. Otherwise, we're going to lose the bulleted formatting on our tips page. Okay, because what essentially we're doing is we're removing the bulleted icon or bulleted little dot from our menu bar, but we don't want to move it from all of the unordered lists that we have in our website. Okay, so 14 is the fix for that, and you would do the same thing for number 16 in TripSmart. Okay, and in TripSmart, I also have you do some additional steps that are on page 5-37. Okay, Coffee Shop, page 5- is it really page 5-49? It is. Lots of directions back here. So I want you to revise your current navigation bar to be reflected as an unordered list, and you will do all the formatting kind of that we've done through the chapter. Hovers are nice. Okay, you can add whatever bells and whistles you want there. It says number 2, research websites that could be included on one or more of your pages as external links of interest to your users. Create a list of external links you want to use. Use your wireframe as a guide. Decide whether each external link should be placed in the site. So, couple external links within your site would be great. Add the external links to your pages, and then you do want to create IDs. So you want to come back and think about your different pages, and maybe you've done some wireframing of your pages. But what I've seen in the past is maybe on the menu page, students have created a section called drinks, created a section called lunch, okay, or maybe a section called products, okay, whatever they would be labeled. And then just like on the massages, the facials, and the body underscore treatments, and then it would drop down and jump to those different sections in the pages. So that's just an example that you can use. 5 and 6 talk about the menu bar. Number 7, think a good place to incorporate an image map. You can use the transparent image that we used through Striped Umbrella. You can use that on your logo. Make sure you use it on all pages. And then number 8, decide on at least one Web 2.0 application that you might like to incorporate and determine how and what page you would like to be included. Okay, so if you need any help with incorporating any Web 2.0, you want to let me know. And then use Link Checker to check for any broken links. As you can see, I created a broken link today with the banner. And so if you have any questions on what's expected for Coffee Shop, or any problems with TripSmart, or blooms and bulbs, please let me know. Notice there is no web bibliography or class discussion. So you just have your 3 websites that you need to work on. Thank you for your time.